I'll say it again. The Albanese government actually won the election with lies and bribes and no fix for the big crises we face, like the huge debt, like our shocking productivity, out-of-control immigration, unaffordable house prices for the young, and our energy debacle. Rising prices, falling reliability. And sure enough, just a week or so after the election, news that a big fertiliser plant in Queensland could now be shut unless a buyer is found. 500 jobs at risk. It's the Dyno Noble plant at Phosphate Hill, about 140 kilometres from Mount Isa, facing closure because of high gas prices, because making fertiliser takes a lot of gas. And this spells trouble, of course, because Australia is a massive farming country. We need fertiliser, but already must import 75% of it. And if our imports are cut off or disrupted, we are in grave trouble, as we saw 3 years ago when China and Russia restricted fertiliser exports. So much for the Albanese government's future made in Australia. But factories can't even get cheap power to compete. Already we've seen other companies shut because of exactly that, at least in part. Last year, Qenos, our biggest manufacturer of plastics and chemicals, shut. 700 jobs gone. 3 months ago, Australia's only architectural glass manufacturer, Oceania Glass, also said it was shutting. Gas prices too high. Our biggest explosive manufacturer saying it should invest overseas instead because high gas prices killing its business here. Joining me is Saul Kavonic, Head of Energy Research at MST Marquee. Saul, thank you so much for your time. Now this fertiliser plant in trouble, how serious is this energy crisis?
Well, as you highlighted, it's just another dominoes that's falling in our manufacturing base. And it's now a few thousand blue-collar jobs that have been lost in those high-profile closures you've mentioned, including Qenos, Oceania Glass over the last 18 months. What's actually more worrying is these are only the plants closing that are making the headlines. What we're seeing are hundreds of other smaller manufacturing facilities around the country shutting down, and those blue-collar jobs are dying in silence. And very often it is, a rock of a regional community where you're seeing that manufacturing plant actually sustaining an entire regional centre. So that's actually, it's not the headline that we've seen here. That's just the tip of the iceberg of what we're seeing, a kind of layer below that. And you need to remember, while the overall jobs data doesn't necessarily indicate that the trajectory is so bad here, it's not showing the full picture because these jobs that are being lost are relatively very high paid, very strong conditions, very supportive of regional communities' jobs. And what they're being replaced with is, even within the blue-collar sector, lower paying jobs with much worse conditions, transient and casual jobs in the renewable sector. And so it is a big hit to blue-collar workers. And as you say, there's no point having a future made in Australia manufacturing policy if we can't keep our existing manufacturing sustained today.